So today we're going to be installing a winch kit for the Kubota that you can buy directly from the Kubota website. I think it's part of their kit. It's a worn winch, which I've heard very good things about. It is the 45S, 4,500 pound capacity, and it comes with a 6.4 millimeter synthetic rope. You could get this thing out of any situation with this winch here. And also if you got something else stuck, like a four-wheeler or something, this would have absolutely no problem getting it out. You could honestly probably pull a car out of something if it wasn't stuck much. So here's the handheld. So you don't have to be sitting in the vehicle if you don't want to be when you're winching. That usually will just sit in your glove box. And then here is the wiring that will plug into this and go up into the button inside the cab. So basically this guide gets bolted to this plate, and then when you go to install it on the front of the bumper, this plate will sit here, the winch will be on it, and then you'll bolt everything through the bottom. And we'll show you how to do that right now. So first thing you're gonna wanna do is, with the bolts that it came with, you're gonna use the bigger Allen. Gonna drop that down through there. Drop that down through there. And some people put Loctite on these. It's got a locking washer, or a locking nut, so I'm not gonna bother. I've never had an issue with them coming loose. So from the other side, you'll put the nut on. And with these, you can just cinch them right down. That is that. Now that we have the guide on, just set this on top of here, and we'll put the main wires that'll go from the winch to the battery on before we put it in, because it'll just make it easier. Minus will go there, and positive will go down here. And that is going to be a 10 millimeter socket. And these don't need to be too tight, just overhand, like so. So make sure all of these are out of the way, and just set it in there. You're gonna want all this to get tucked back here, just to get it out of the way for now. And the reason why you put these going this way instead of that way is if you have these going out this way, they stick out right here. So if you hit a stick or anything, you're just gonna short this winch out right away. So you always wanna have them going to the back of the winch so that nothing can get caught on them. So now you're gonna take these 8.8s, you got 4 of them, and you're gonna use these crush washers. So those will go on all of them. And these will be what holds it to the bumper. So we'll put those down there. I've gotta get a light. These are gonna be a 1/2 inch socket as well, and you're gonna want an extension because you've gotta get up through the bumper. So a nice thing to have as well is one of these punches. Just make sure it's skinny enough to get up through the holes so you can line everything up. So once you've got all the bolts in, you can go ahead and tighten them down. And you're gonna wanna get these really as hand tight as you can get them. All right, so here's the hook for the winch. So usually they have it come on this. I like to take it off because if you hook onto something, it'll end up tearing this over time. So I like to put it through here. And then you're also gonna get this rope through here. And then you just got to kind of work your way into getting this through. So in the long run, it'll look like that. And then you've got your little pin. You're gonna shove that through. And then this can be tricky sometimes. Sometimes these like to give you a little bit of a hassle. But get yourself some pliers and try and grab one of these. You might need two to hold the bottom one. And once you get one bent over enough, it's usually pretty easy. Grab the other one, bend it down, and then from this point, you can grab the edge, clamp that, and there you are. Now that's not going to come out, and that's good to go. Now that we have the winch mounted to the bumper, we can run the main power for it through the back. We're basically going to follow like the coolant lines and the hydraulic steering lines, and I'll show you how we do that. So these are going to come up right through here, and I'm going to go behind these hoses, in between the hoses and the radiator fan, which is right there. And then just tuck those up in there. From this side, just reach in and grab them. And pull them all the way through. Okay, just make sure they're not all tangled. To have them pulled through to the other side, we're gonna follow these coolant lines. Those go all the way down to the back of the engine. And so they'll be above the skid plate, but below the frame and the floor of the machine. So you're just gonna have to work those. There's an opening here down in the bottom along the edge. So you can kind of just slowly work them all the way down to the battery. So you'll go under all of these and just feel your way and pull them all the way through. And then once you get them to about here, you'll want to take the battery cover off. This just pops off like so. And then here, eventually you'll take the battery off, and it'll be a little bit easier to get your hand in there to grab them out. And we'll have a little fuse box, and we'll show you where to ground them and mount everything up back here. So get them as far back as you can by reaching from over here, and then we'll go ahead and take the battery out so you can fully reach in from the other side and grab them. So once you've gotten the cables as far back as you can, we'll go ahead and take the battery out. Take the battery out. We'll put it in our handy bed. And now you're just gonna try and find those cables. Now you'll just pull those through until you have no slack. All right, so now that we've run the winch cables all the way through the back to where the battery goes, we'll now set up the accessory. So this will plug into the winch and then come back to plug into the buttons on the inside, and then also for your accessory for the handheld switch as well. So I'll show you how to run that now. So we've got this wire coming off the back of the winch. We're gonna run that up through this gap here. Make sure it's not all tangled up or anything like that. And then you're gonna take the bottom end of this, and that's gonna plug, oops, right into there, like so. Make sure that locks down. And then we'll worry about making this look all pretty later. But we're gonna tuck this under this wire here. like so. And it'll run around. And then these will have a fuse box that gets mounted right here. And this will all get placed up in behind the dash. We have a nice, when you buy the light kits for this from Kubota, it comes with the fuse block. And it also comes with a nice switch display that goes on the windshield. So we'll show you that here in a second as well. But this we will be putting right here. So we'll put our accessory for the handheld winch right here. And we'll show you how to do that right now. You're gonna want a countersink bit for this part. We gotta drill the hole for the connector for the handheld part of the winch. So we'll just find a good spot here, kind of look for the middle, and it's gonna be roughly about 1 inch is the size you want. So this luckily tells you how much 1 inch is. So we'll just go until it feels right. There we are, and then you're gonna want to try and get these burrs out. So because I can't fit this and the gun in from the back, so I'll just go from the back end with just your hand and spin this in there a few times just to try and get those burrs out on the other side. After you got your hole drilled, luckily this cable's long enough to where I can pull this around. And you're gonna put it in there and then get yourself a little punch or something that'll fit in here so you can mark the holes. Try and get it as level as you can, and then just stick this in there and push to leave a mark. All right, so now I got the holes marked. I'm using a 1/8 drill bit. So now you'll go ahead and throw this in through the back side of the dash. Those holes line up nicely. All right, so once you have this in, we'll put this rubber little gasket on. We'll get our screws started. And there we go. So if you buy a light kit from Kubota for these, it comes with this fuse panel. And so I'm gonna be wiring the winch up partially to this fuse panel, and I'll show you what we do in the back as well. This will be getting installed right here, like so. That's where they tell you to put it on the instructions manual. You could really put it wherever you wanted. It doesn't have to go here, but I'm gonna put it here because that's where it says. It comes with this Velcro pouch. So after you drill the holes, you'll bolt this. It'll go like this. And so then everything's kind of covered. Just helps a little bit with keeping crap off of it. To drill this, you'll want a 3/16 drill bit. We're gonna use this as our template. So just get it to a spot where you want, and you're gonna be using these 2 first holes. We're not gonna use all 4 because you don't need that many. So just line that up. Send her on through. So the kit comes with these longer Phillips screws and a locking nut. Those will be the ones you use. So drop that down in there. And then from the bottom, you'll put the nut on. So by putting that first nut in, it's just gonna make it easy so we don't have to guess where the other hole goes. You'll just send your drill bit down through that next one. Just like that. All right, so once you have both your holes drilled, you'll take this back out of here, and we'll put this down. And this is gonna line up with your 2 holes you drilled down here. And then this is gonna go over it. So then to tighten this up, you'll need a Phillips head on the top and a 10mm socket on the bottom. This wire will be for your actual switch that goes on the accessory board up here. So to do this, you'll see the roll bar up here. It's got a pretty big gap. So we're gonna try and run this through here like so. And the control panel is gonna go bolts right here. So this will be a bunch of switches, so we'll just leave that there for now. So after you get those done, we'll put this on the positive just for now. So this is the positive, this is the negative. So we'll unscrew this. And we'll just set this on here like so for now. So now I'm going to show you guys what we're going to do with this. This is a fuse, and we have this handy other positive wire that we're going to mount to the starter, and it'll go to this. And then these are both of our winch cables. We'll run the positive to the other end, and this will get grounded to the chassis ground, and I'll show you guys where that is. We'll take this starter nut off, and it's a 12. So we'll take our little jumper wire here, and we'll go underneath. Then you can put the starter wire back on. And then you'll take your fuse, and this will go on here. And this comes with a crush washer and a nut. This will be a 13mm socket. The 2 winch cables we ran to the back. You'll take the positive, and that'll go on here. And then from the harness for your control panel and your lights, you'll take the positive and put that on there. This just snaps back onto itself like so. And what we'll do is run these down in here, and then we'll put zip ties on either end of this to hold it down. You're gonna take this bolt out here that has this ground. So we'll use the chassis as a ground. You'll take the ground from your winch wires, and that'll go on there along with your ground from the light harness as well. So these both will get put onto this. Now what we want to do is just zip tie all this access cable up nicely so that it sits back here, and then we can throw the battery back in. So we've got everything zip tied up. The battery sits right here, so the battery will also help hold this in, but I went around the cage so that this stuff can't move around. Yeah, so now we'll get the battery in and we'll show you guys the finished product. So this is the mounting bracket that comes with the fuse box that we put up on the front. This will go right here. And the windshield that comes with from Kubota already has the holes drilled out. So that'll go right here. But first we got to get all of our switches in, and then all of this extra cord we can actually tuck behind here and hide it all. So whether you're mounting your winch button or your light switches, you've got to put those on first, obviously, and run your controller boxes to the back of it before you put this all and bolt it in. So we're gonna put our winch all the way to the left. This is out with the ribbed, so we'll put that up, and then this would be in for the winch. Your cable for the winch will plug in just like so. And now we're ready to kind of cinch all this stuff up and get the wires all back and zip tied up so that it all fits back here nicely. For the winch, we're gonna throw this fuse. This is the connector that goes to the auxiliary handheld switch and the switch we just plugged in for the switch panel. This is gonna go on the positive, and we'll leave that there for now. We ran this switch up through here underneath these other wires, and we'll pull it all tight and circle it up like this and tuck it in somewhere and zip tie all that together. We have everything hooked up now. We've got the winch. These are all looking good right now. This light's indicating it's got power. Now we'll do the winch. And now we'll check the handheld device, make sure this is working on our handy little thing here. It's got power. Wonderful, job done. Now we'll get everything zip tied up to look good and show you the final result. All right, so I just got done zip tying all the wires. So we've got 3 zip ties up here. We ran them down, and then all the access stuff I had here, I just rolled up and tucked it behind, and that's zip tied on the top and the bottom. And because there's not much room behind here with these big control switches, so I couldn't really tuck anything else back there. And then if you come around front, we've got everything tucked in this bag, and then the winch controller I just zip tied and tucked it behind these lines down here. And then for this switch coming up, I zip tied it to the radiator frame right there, and now everything's out of the way. Nothing can get to it or pull it out, so we should be good to go. So last but not least, we just need to screw this control panel into its home here. So it comes with these screws. We'll use a drill. Getting that one started. Right there. Right there. And there you go. It's the final product.